Thank you for joining us today. Got a lot of people here to talk, so we're just going to keep moving. A lot of events, over 30 events over the next 9 days. I mean, if you're here, you've seen the schedule, you know what we're looking at. So great opportunity to talk to the event organizers, and we're recording this entire kickoff. So this will go up on our website and you'll be able to review this. Send your friends in to watch this if they weren't able to join us today, and they can find out, you know, what everybody's doing and learn more about our groups. Let me start by sharing a little feature with you here. You've all seen this page since you're registered for this event, but here's our festival schedule. Wanted to show you the map. I mean, what's unique about this year is we've got events clear across the metro area. And if you're traveling to the in-person events, wanted to let you know that you can obviously click on this, takes you right into Google, and then, you know, pick the event you want. I mean, here's our afternoon event up at the English Landing, hit your directions. If you're on a phone mobile device, just snap in your location. Since I'm not, I'll actually type in an address. But, you know, there you go. There's your directions to that Earth Festival event. Hit your start and just navigate your way there. So we've tried to make this as easy as possible. And we want to thank our sponsor, KKFI, for helping make this possible. So, you know, let's start by turning this over to Kelly Doherty, Development Director at KKFI, and let her talk about the great work they're doing. Kelly?
Good morning, everybody. First of all, I want to say thank you to Bob and for the Climate Council for doing this and understanding how important this is for the community. And basically for the world. I mean, it's got to start somewhere, and, you know, every little bit counts. Absolutely every little bit counts. So KKFI is your community radio station. We've been around for 35 years this year, which is a really big deal. Mostly run by volunteers, which is, we have some really fantastic volunteers, and all our programmers are volunteers. Terri's on here. You'll get to hear from her shortly with EcoRadio, but our programming is all community based, and we work very hard to bring bring things that are important to the community as a whole. And our mission is to reach those that are underserved. And a lot of times when you look at things like the environment, it's definitely underserved, and we all understand that, or we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't have to be doing things like this. So we're proud and honored and humbled to be a sponsor of this. So thank you very much, Bob.
Thank you, Kelly. Probably the next event this afternoon is what we're calling the BUS-eum. And, you know, we're very happy to welcome our friends from Germany who are touring, and very excited that they are going to be part of that festival. So do you want to join us, David?
Yes, we'd love to. Can you hear us?
Can. Turn on your camera.
All right. Hi.
There you go. Tell us all about it. Tell us about your tour.
Like Bob just said, we are students from Germany, and we're traveling around the Midwest for 3 months in total. We've been on the road for about 2 weeks now. Kansas City is one of our destinations. We're staying here for about a week and participating in Earthweek or in the Earth Festival today. So you'll be able to see us at English Landing in Parkville at 12, or starting at 12 today. And what we do, we travel around on our bus, basically like a climate bus that's all about the environment. And we talk about several subjects. We talk about agriculture, we talk about food, we talk about fashion, we talk about solutions to the climate crisis from a activist standpoint, and from a standpoint of what can we do, what are solutions, what are things that might not be considered in the general public generally. You're happy to visit us. We're happy to discuss with you. This is a discussion-based format, right? It's about us, our students. We are the representatives today. We'll be 4 people with the bus today. And you're happy to walk around the bus and engage us, right? It's all about the engagement and talking to us about what matters to you when it comes to climate change. And also we have, right, lots of inspiration, 12 subjects, 12 topics that we present that we are happy to talk to you about. If there are any questions, feel free to ask. We are called Heartland's Future. We call ourselves Heartland's Future. right? We are all students from Germany, from the University of Erfurt in Thuringia. This is the state above Bavaria. And we are traveling around the Midwest with this bus. This bus has been a thing here. It's been focused on historical exhibits so far. And our professor, who is a native Iowan coming from Spencer or Mason City, Iowa, gave us the opportunity to utilize this bus for our own means, for our own subject, something that's close to our hearts, which is climate change, which is the environment, which is the climate crisis and fighting the climate crisis. And we hope to make a little impact, talk to a lot of people today and in the coming weeks as well. And yeah, if you're interested in more, right, you can find us at heartlandsfuture.com. And today at Earthweek, we're so grateful to be part of it.
Well, thank you, David and Verena. They mentioned chatting with them. We do have the chat system totally open. So, you know, attendees, you can send chats to specific people if you have questions about their event, or, you know, just somebody else on the list. You can say, hey, what's going on? There's also the Q&A if you want to post a question to the entire room, something you think that everybody wants to know about. Just open the Q&A, type that in, and panelists, any of you can respond to things. So just keep the conversation going. The next thing today is actually a climate council event. I mean, we're talking about education, climate, sustainability. There's going to be a whole series of sustainability workshops virtual throughout the week provided by the Climate Council. This afternoon at 3, we have the Sustainable Living Workshop, which is kind of the overview of all these different areas. And then throughout the week, we're going to do deep dives into the different sectors. So I'm going to forget the order, but I think Tuesday it goes into sustainable energy, then sustainable transportation, sustainable fashion, sustainable food. So today is a great one because it kind of looks at the big overview of everything and gives us an idea of what we as individuals can do to lower our carbon footprint and to help survive in this climate change world we have. I mean, it's no longer a matter of fighting climate change, which we need to continue to do. But, you know, the changes are at our doors. You know, before we went live here, we were talking about possible snow next weekend. So, you know, climate change is happening and we need to prepare ourselves to be ready for it. And that's what these sustainable living workshops will do for you. So we hope to see a bunch of you online at 3 this afternoon. And beyond that, you know, the public events. I mean, go see the bus this afternoon. We got great weather today. Tomorrow morning, we're launching with a big tabling event at Unity Temple on the Plaza. And, you know, a lot of tables there. A lot of the people you see here online will be physically there, so you can talk to them in person. And I know, you know, there's books, there's T-shirts, there's going to be a lot of things that you can buy, share, talk, do. One of the other things that's going on tomorrow is a volunteer workday. And, you know, in addition to learning, to attending these workshops, to meeting all these great groups, one of the great things we like to do on Earthweek is volunteer and do some service. Carla, you want to tell us about your project tomorrow?
Good morning. Yes, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. The Platte Land Trust, we are celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. And part of that celebration is our volunteer work, and continue our habitat restoration at our first property, which is the Charlotte Sawyers Nature Area in Southern Platte County. So we have 2 events going on for the Earth Fest. One is this volunteer work day that starts at 11 and ends at 1. One of the primary tasks that we have going on is that we have about 180 seedlings to get into the ground around our pond and in our woodlands to improve the diversity of the vegetation there, as well as we always have invasive plants to remove, just like everyone else in the metropolitan area. The other activity that we're having is what we call Family Time Outdoors, which is nature education. It's a family geared event that is a come and go event. So it starts at 12 and we're going to go till 3 o'clock. So you can come out and walk the trails, do a scavenger hunt. We will have a guided nature walk, wildflower walk this rain last night will help the wildflowers in our woodlands pop up out of the ground. There will also be a nature art activity for the kids to do. We will have our campfire going. So if you want to have some more, you can toast a marshmallow with us. That's from 12 to 3. Everyone is welcome. It's open to the public. Everything is free. That's what we do with our nature education items. So we hope to see you there at the Charlotte Sawyers Nature Area. In Platte Land Trust, we preserve open spaces and family farms in eastern Missouri and western Kansas, partnering with private landowners. So that's what we do. You can check us out on the Climate Council website. Thanks so much.
And Carla, I mean, as far as the cleanup up in the nature area, you do that every month, don't you?
Yes, so this is our monthly workday. If you can't come tomorrow because there are so many wonderful things going on, our next workday will be May 21st and then June 11th. And then we stop for the hot, humid summer.
So a wonderful opportunity here during Earthweek, great day of service. But, you know, this happens all year round. So, you know, a lot of our partners just keep going all year round, more events coming. So, you know, connect with the people. Thank you, Carla.
You're welcome.
Who's next? So let's jump over to Terri Wilke with EcoRadio. She's got a couple of events she can talk about. Terri?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Bob, for having me on this kickoff Zoom. It's very exciting, the EarthFest 23. So KKFI is going to the program on KKFI, EcoRadio KC, and I hope you're all familiar with it. It airs every Monday from 6 to 7 p.m. and it podcasts. The show is available on any podcast source. It's available on podcasts on the KKFI website, kkfi.org, and we live stream around the world. So this is a locally produced environmental issues program, and we're going to come to EarthFest 23 this year, first at Unity Temple tomorrow. That's Sunday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We're going to table there, and the idea is to create a storyboard. So if anyone listening is familiar with the idea of capturing people's stories, and EcoRadio KC is a yawning hole of weekly radio, and we will use these 1 to 3 minute statements that you might prepare or might just come in and ad lib, and we will record those. We're bringing a handheld recorder, and you'll get, certainly, I hope you will be willing to give full credit. If you're not, we can work around anything you want to do. But please come to Unity Temple and stop by our table and explain to us a story that you have about the Earth or Earth Day or the climate and climate change. So when I think about that, I would suggest that you think who, what, when, where, how you're going to tell a story. So for example, who taught you about Earth Day, or who taught you about climate change, or who taught you that the world is a big planet and a finite source for humankind? How did you learn that this is our planet? And as is commonly said these days, there is no planet B. Okay, so then we go to what? What are you doing about climate change? What are the issues having to do with the climate that you feel are the most relevant for, and you would like for listeners on KKFI, and we live stream around the world, to hear your 1 to 3 minute talk. And that's a rough sketch. I mean, it can be shorter or longer. And then when we say when, that's the same thing. When were you first aware of pollution? When did you first see something happen that gave you hope for our continued existence? Where, similarly, and then how? That's a big question. If anybody is game and you have some really good ideas on how we can address continuing our existence on this beautiful planet, we invite you to come to the storyboard table at the Unity Temple, the Buddhist temple on the plaza and record your story. We're going to play that maybe as soon as Monday on EcoRadio KC, but with your permission, we will keep these little vignettes and play them and even replay them as we continue to broadcast EcoRadio KC. If it's a good statement, an honest statement, funny statement, a sad statement, we would like to continue to use it. Now then, on EcoRadio KC this coming Monday, which will be the 17th of April, we're having a webinar, or I should say EarthFest 23 is holding a live webinar during the 6 to 7 o'clock hour on EcoRadio KC. So if you go to ef23.org and see the Festival of Events, that gives you your chance to enroll in the webinar. And then you can talk on EcoRadio KC. It should go out live. It should go out around the world. And if you have anyone that you would like to reach out to in another country, in another state, please allow for the change of time, because live stream is Central Standard Time. So if you're talking 6 o'clock in Kansas and your friends are in California, they're going to have to listen 1 to 2 hours earlier in California. But that's just a totally cool, exciting event. So that's
I'm
all
excited about that. I mean, that's a call in, and yeah, we'll have that webinar going. So those of you that want to be live on air through the webinar, I will be there physically. Katie White, our partner liaison with the Climate Council, will be there. Our guest from Germany, from the BUS-eum, will be with us. So there'll be people there live that you can chat with. Also, if you prefer phone, I mean, register for the webinar, please, but also the call-in line will be open. So you'll be able to call in on the phone and talk to Terri. So it's just going to be this exciting, interactive, everybody get on the air and let's talk about the climate together. I think it's going to be a great event, Terri.
Right, you're good, Bob. I think so too. I will be there and you will be there. And many people, anyone who enrolled in the webinar will be there. And you can talk vis-a-vis, if you're enrolled in the webinar, you can talk on Zoom as we are talking now. If you call in, the station does not connect the telephone to the webinar. So then you're going to have to rely on me to take your message on the phone and communicate it to the webinar panelists. So I encourage everyone to go to that ef23.org and enroll in the webinar. Even if you think you haven't got anything to say to the group.
You can just come listen.
Yes.
Come listen and watch. How often do you get to see the host of a radio show live moving around playing with the panel? So come have fun. And that registration's at climategkc.org. So go to climategkc.org to register.
climategkc.org. Right. Okay. And that puts it on your calendar. And so I do hope everyone comes. Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Terri. Our next big event, and actually there are several events, and I've already talked about them. So our sustainable living, there's several of those on Tuesday and Wednesday. Also coming up on Wednesday is the Citizens Climate Lobby. So Stephen, do you want to join us and tell people about your webinar?
Yeah, I sure would. And thanks, Bob. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Melton, and I am the chapter leader for the Citizens Climate Lobby Missouri chapter. And before I go into some other stuff, I just want to repeat how much success we've had in the last year since Earthfest 22. And we didn't do this alone at Citizens Climate Lobby, but with our national partners and our other local partners, we've accomplished a lot. You know, first of all, we got the Inflation Reduction Bill passed by Congress last summer. And this is the largest climate bill in world history. And we got it passed by one vote. And that's just tremendous. In KC-Mo last August, they passed the new Climate Protection and Resiliency Plan. And, you know, that calls for net zero in KC-Mo by 2040. That's a tremendous achievement. And to put meat on the bones, we lobbied the KC-Mo City Council to pass the 2021 International Energy Conservation Codes, These are energy efficient building codes that go into effect this July 1st. We also helped the Kansas City, Missouri City Council pass the first ever tree protection ordinance earlier this spring. So we've gained a lot of momentum legislatively, locally and nationally that we need to expand on in the upcoming year. So together with our CCL volunteers on the Kansas side, we're offering you 2 opportunities to get involved in what we're doing during Earthfest 23. The first is our tabling event tomorrow at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Unity Temple on the Plaza. And there you can learn about how you can get cash from the federal government in the state of Missouri to electrify your household and reduce your carbon footprint. You can also learn about our push for urban reforestation and regenerative agriculture, and our campaign to tax corporations and the richest Americans who contribute the most to our greenhouse gas emissions. You can also learn which candidates in the upcoming KCMO election are courageous enough to tackle climate change and so deserve your vote. The second opportunity is our Earthfest 23 webinar on Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Jennifer Brown from the Kansas side and I will introduce you to Citizens Climate Lobby, discuss home electrification, carbon fee and cashback, and reforestation. And as a bonus, we're also going to talk about the 2023 Farm Bill, which is a great opportunity to incentivize reforestation and regenerative farming so our farmers and foresters can help us pull CO2 from the atmosphere. And we're also going to talk about federal permitting reform legislation. What you say? What is that? Well, do you know that right now in the United States, there are enough funded projects to replace all fossil fuel electricity plants with renewable electricity plants? But Congress needs to expedite the permitting process of these green projects so they get built on time. So please give Citizens Climate Lobby an hour of your time, either tomorrow morning at Unity Temple on the Plaza or Wednesday evening in the webinar, and learn what you can do to help make a big, big difference in climate change. I hope to see you all there.
Thank you, Stephen. And Thursday night, again, we have the sustainable workshop, one of the Climate Council's events. So I hope you'll join us there. But then after that, we have the Greater Kansas City Interfaith Council doing a very unique event. Ira, do you want to share that with us? Ira, I can hear the typing. There you go.
Okay, sorry. I was having trouble getting my video going. Well, thank you, Bob, and thanks everyone for being here. My name is Ira Serkar-Harrett. I'm with the Greater Kansas City Interfaith Council, which is comprised of faith directors from 22 different faith philosophies in the Kansas City area. And we work basically to increase multi-faith understanding and provide engaging educational programs about the diverse faith traditions in the area. Some of our main goals are to model and promote spiritual and religious values, especially those of mutual respect and cooperation. Unfortunately, we do this in a society that often is intolerant of difference. We also work to help the community become more aware of spiritual values that can help resolve issues related to the environment and climate change and other social and personal issues that affect our lives. So with that in mind, we organized the Spiritual Yearning for a Healed World Interfaith Art, Music, Poetry, and Stories, which will be a forum on Zoom on Thursday, April 20th at 7 p.m. And you can sign up for the forum through the Climate Council website. And our wish is to highlight the diverse spiritual values from 10 different faith traditions that can help inspire care and reverence for the earth. The program will include Native American flute and singing, earth-inspired art from Catholic and Sukeo Marikari faiths, creation-inspired stories from Jewish, Muslim, and pagan faiths, Hindu dance, and songs and poetry and more. One of the things that kind of inspired us to kind of offer this kind of a program is a quote from the author Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. You may know him as the author of Le Petit Prince. And he once wrote, "If you want to build a ship, don't drum up the men to gather wood, divide the work, and give orders. Instead, teach them to yearn for the vast and endless sea." So this event basically is intended to help encourage listeners and participants to deepen their yearning for a whole and healthy world and inspire them to express their yearning in care and reverence for creation. So we encourage you to come. We have art, music, dance, stories, poetry. So we hope that this will inspire you. And we look forward to being there with you on Thursday, the 20th. Thanks.
Thank you, Ira. And then Friday's another work day. Cultivate KC is going to be cleaning up their garden midtown. So urban permaculture garden, please, climategkc.org, check the schedule. You can learn about that. I understand they're having a happy hour after the work day. So, you know, what's better than that? And then we'll be closing that day with another Climate Council sustainability workshop on sustainable food. So great food day, which brings us to Earth Day, April 22nd, Saturday. And boy, do we have a lot of things happening then. So let's just start down. I mean, these are long, exciting events and they're simultaneous. You're not going to be able to get to all of them. So, you know, pick and choose. But, you know, Leslie, let's talk about on Dumpster Day.
Sure. So thank you so much, Bob. We are excited to have our third on Dumpster Day hosted by Reuseful. Reuseful is a website that launched in late 2020 to help people with still good stuff find nonprofit organizations, schools, and churches that can put that stuff to good use. So last year we started on Dumpster Days, which are just meant to be a one-stop drop for all those items that you've cleaned out of your closets, your garage, your basement, your office, and you can bring them on Saturday, April 22nd from 8 to noon to South Broadland Presbyterian Church. That's at 7850 Holmes Road in Kansas City, Missouri. And also during that 8 to noon time frame, we're going to have a household hazardous waste collection. If you had paint or other kinds of items that you haven't been able to discard sitting around in your shed or basement, you can bring those, as well as those used tires. And we're going to do paper shredding that's sponsored by AARP. So a lot of times we've collected those sensitive documents in a box, and it sits there, and this is the opportunity to go ahead and bring that and get that out of your office. So we just asked people if they could ask themselves if they would feel proud to give an item to a friend or family member before they pack it up to bring to donate. Our charity partners, deserve to get quality items, and they do reserve the right to refuse inappropriate donations if they happen to see one. And we just suggest that maybe in honor of Earth Day, you think about upcycling or recycling those items if you can, and into something that you can use. And that's also part of what we're going to be doing as part of the day. From 10 to 4, we're going to have an Earth Day festival. And we'll have music from Darren Story from 107.3. We're going to do some upcycled planter projects and seed planting. Hillary Noonan will be there to do a composting workshop. We're going to have the 816 Bike Collective there to show people how to do some bike repairs. So it's going to be a fun day, and we'll be doing some demonstrations throughout the day to just show people how they can take something they might have even recycled and turn it into something useful. So we have 17 charity partners there to receive your stuff. In addition, although this little guy is not up for adoption, he's mine. This is Theodore. Melissa's Second Chances will be there with dog adoptions. So if you've been thinking about adding a furry family member, please come and take a look at the dogs that they have up for adoption. And then, maybe you can add to your family, as well as just celebrate Earth Day with us. So we look forward to having you. We also have volunteer opportunities, which I am going to put our sign up in the chat in case anybody is interested in learning more about what we have there, as well as we have computer recycling and other electronics, and there are some guidelines for that. So I'll drop that in the chat as well, so you can see who's going to be there and what we're taking. Thank you, Bob.
Les. Thank you, Leslie. It sounds like a great event. Stan, tell us about Compost Fest.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks for having us on, and it's great to be thinking about another Earth Day after so many, but we've really got a lot going on. The event today, this Earth Day, 9 to 2, is Compost Fest. This is the second annual Compost Fest. This is a festival with the idea of celebrating renewal, celebrating the organic cycle of life, and demonstrating the building of a great big pile of compost. At this time, it's going to be on Casey Farm School location. It's 2443 South 42nd Street in Kansas City, Kansas. We've got about 70 cubic yards of mulch and leaves. We're looking for 5,000 pounds of food waste, and that's going to include Casey Can Compost is bringing food waste from Canby's and other places they pick up. Compost Collective KC is bringing a trailer full of food waste from all of their routes. And Earth Cycle KC from the Kansas side is also bringing a load of food waste. So it's going to be fragrant and pungent and fertile. And the kickoff, the piece to resistance will be 2,500 gallons of beer dregs from Boulevard Beer and the Kansas City, the Missouri Organic Food Waste Collection. I wanted to mention that so far I hear mostly private nonprofits doing this work. I'm really, really proud to be a part of a for-profit company, 30 years old. Missouri Organic handles the yard waste from the city of Kansas City, as well as the entire region. Our mulch is sold in 5 states. Terrific, highly rated compost. So really proud to see a for-profit company in here sponsoring a public event like this. I wish we had a lot more of that. Some of the events on the day besides the pile build, which will be starting at 9 o'clock, and the beer comes at 10:30. So you can watch that. It's quite a scene because the beer is still carbonated and the tank is pressurized so that there's a 4-inch hose shooting out like a fire hydrant of yellow fragrant beer, and we'll put that right into the pile. But to go along throughout the day, we have workshops. Dan Kroll is going to teach us about black soldier fly larvae, a real interesting way to handle food waste. David Haken is going to be talking about earthworms. He's got a couple of workshops. Let's see. Karen Ramsey of Food Cycle KC is going to be doing a backyard composting workshop. Marty Kraft and the Citizen Soil Science cooperative is going to be doing the Johnson Sioux composting, which is a really very, very interesting and a powerful way to create compost that's adds fungi to the soil and rebalances the soils that we have around here. And we just received a offer from Brooke Salvaggio of Herbivore Farm, one of the best organic gardens and farms we have in the Kansas City area. She's going to be teaching us how to use compost in the garden. So there's a lot of different activities, and the big one is across the street at the main location for Casey Farm School is a plant sale, and they have this double greenhouse with such rare starts as Thai basil and other rarely found plant starts that are available there. So this is one of their biggest events of the year, and they've agreed to host the event. And the one thing about Compost Fest is there are leftovers, and what it is, of course, is 80 cubic yards of really fertile compost that's going to be alive and ready for them to use for years as they develop this new 11-acre property that they have. So people really get excited about Compost Fest because they understand how this cycle of life really works, and that death's a part of life, and we need to bring it back with a vest. And it's an exciting time. So everybody's free to come out 9 to 2 on Saturday over there at Gibbs Road Farm, also known as Casey Farm School. I think that's all.
That's great, Stan. Thank you. And a lot of other great events happening that day. We've got the fabric grab over at the sewing lab. I mean, all this climate, gkc.org, check out the details, but free fabric, you can go grab that. I should mention that we're going to be live streaming a lot of these events. We'll have people there just briefly live streaming these to our YouTube channel. So if you want to see what's going on, decide where you want to go, or if you just can't make them all and just want to see what's happening, you can check out those live streams throughout the day. We've got the Earth Day of Action at Young Family Farm. We're talking about volunteer activities. So another midtown urban garden, great place to go, help them get ready for their summer crops. Calorie Pear buyback event out in Lee Summit. That's kind of exciting. I mean, how often do you get to cut down a tree, get your picture posted someplace and get a tree to replace that? So I believe the rules there are you cut down that invasive pear tree in your yard, like, well, not the neighbor's yard, it's probably their business, but cut down that invasive pear tree, snap a picture, upload that to their registration, and then go out there on the 22nd and they'll give you a replacement tree, something local. And I understand these are really nice trees, 4 to 10 to 12-foot trees. So, really good replacements. Earth Day at Suds Refillery. There's another for-profit company doing climate work, Sam. They basically will let you take your jars, your plastic in there and get those refilled instead of throwing those into the landfill. So that's great. We've got a Drive Electric Auto Show by Metropolitan Energy Center. I think Mary's going to talk about that a little bit. And we've got the Earthbeat Festival. So let's kick over to Ellie. Tell us about the Earthbeat Festival.
Hi, yes, thanks for having me. The Earthbeat Festival has been put on by my company, Era. I'm a co-founder. We do intentional gatherings for sacred belonging is our tagline. We host all holistic events that are based around connecting to the earth, connecting to ourselves, and then connecting to the community around us. So Earthbeat Festival is one of our largest events that we've put on as we are a new company. And we are setting up in the West Bottoms for a waste less block party. And we have over 40 local businesses, all anywhere from holistic wellness practitioners to just general brick and mortar stores. We're going to have Soap KC there, so you can refill your soap bottles. Pantry goods will be there, so you can buy bulk foods without waste. And then anywhere from a bunch of really amazing nonprofits as well. Food and beverage vendors will be there. It'll be a really fun, just kind of family-friendly block party. We've got DJs lined up throughout the day. I think I already said food and beverages. And then we have a whole workshop schedule as well. So we're going to have BKC out talking about the importance of pollinators. We've got a representative from Candy's Market talking about Sustainability 101. We have sustainable fashion workshops, as well as plant your own tea garden workshops by So Right Seeds is going to be there, and they will also be selling seeds that you can take home and take the knowledge that you learn from the workshop and put it into your own garden. On top of that, we have a morning wellness workshop that is going to be a yoga and a morning DJ set, kind of more ecstatic dance style. And that is going to be a ticketed portion of the event, that morning wellness. However, the rest of the event is completely free to the public because we just really feel that it's important that this is free education for our community and connecting with local businesses and learning about what Kansas City is doing to make sustainable strides in our future. And I think that even just being in this call right now, I'm seeing how amazing Kansas City is with taking really important strides in climate action. So it's a day of fun, family-friendly education and community celebration.
Thank you, Ellie. Mary, tell us about the Drive Electric auto show that's going on in I guess that's out at Village Press, isn't it?
Yes, and that's going to be a fun event. I'd also like to tell you about some of the things that are going on the building side. First of all, we're Metropolitan Energy Center, and across the state line in the whole region, we are celebrating 40 years this year, founded in 1983. So we'll have some fun events later on this year to celebrate. I also wanted to announce that for Earth Month, we are opening up our Project Living Proof for groups that would like to tour it for free of charge, as long as you book that either within the month of April or willing to spill into later on in the spring if you just book it by the end of April. And that's our Project Living Proof demonstration home that shows how to retrofit homes with many different systems and including geothermal, great demonstrations of different insulation and solar panels, solar hot water. And then also next week sometime, and I will get you the exact date, Bob, because I don't have it yet, but we did a tour with 41 News taped, and they're going to air it for Earthweek next week, our tour of Project Living Proof. And so as soon as I get that date when that's going to air, I'll let you know so that I can get on the website. And then finally, the building performance department teamed up with Habitat for Humanity. We were going to have a DIY workshop on low-hanging fruit of weatherization for the home in next week, but unfortunately we had to reschedule that. But that is May 11th. That is open to the public at Habitat for Humanity's Midtown facility. We can seat up to 200 people. So we're going to be walking you through in abstract with a presentation on how to weatherize your home yourself. So please reach out or go to metroenergy.org to sign your group up for a tour of Project Living Proof and for the electric vehicle event that Bob mentioned. I'm with the building side. I'm sorry, I don't have hard details on that.
That's no problem. There's so much going on over at Metro Energy Center. You guys are just everywhere and doing so many important things. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having us today.
Well, absolutely. And a little bit more on that Drive Electric event, again, sponsored by Metropolitan Energy Center. That's the Mid-American Electric Automobile Association is going to have all their cars over at Village Pres in Prairie Village. Go to climategkc.org, you can get the directions, the map, all of that. But a lot of electric, a lot of hybrids sitting there. So your chance to actually take a look at those cars, talk to the owners, share stories. So great event. Electric cars, great way to go. Which brings us to Sunday, the 23rd, final day of our Earth Festival. And personally, I have an event that morning at All Souls Forum. My latest book has been published, so I'm excited about that. But my Field Guide to Climate Change, we'll be talking about that at All Souls, both in person and online. So, please come to All Souls on Warwick. Love to talk to you and share a story. And if you can't make that, go to the All Souls website, and they'll be streaming my talk on the book through their website. So hope to see a lot of you there. Which brings us to who? Sammy, you've got a great webinar on Sunday. Tell us about that.
Thanks so much, Bob. So I'm Sammy Aaron, and I'm the founder of the nonprofit, The Resilient Activist. Our mission is to cultivate resilience to environmental stress by supporting community, personal well-being, and vital ecological health. Because we know environmental activism is hard, right? And sometimes it's too hard. Learning to care for yourself is an essential skill for resilient activism. So I'm excited to tell you about the program we're doing for Earth Day, or through the Earth Festival here. It's called the 4 Steps for Resilient Life. It's a program designed to help build resilience and hope in the face of climate change by connecting people with nature, building community, which really helps prevent overwhelm and burnout while people embrace self-care. So this program is for anyone who feels like there's just so much to do to nurture a healthy planet. Maybe you're concerned that there's not enough time to do it, to ward off all this serious devastation. Or maybe you worry that you're not taking the right actions that will really make a difference. And so the workshop will help us kind of focus on how we can make a little shift in our understanding about it. So the 4 steps are: step 1 is review what you're already doing, what actions you're taking, whether they're really important ones, whether they're really difficult, whether they're simple, whether it's things you wish you were doing, you think you should be doing, right? We just list all of that during the workshop. Step 2 is to go and look at that list and rejoice and celebrate all the actions you're doing that you love, right? The ones that bring you joy, the ones that help you sleep better at night, the ones that just do your heart good. Step 3 is to reflect on those actions that you didn't indicate you loved, right? Ones that bring you down, maybe that put you into fight or flight mode, or maybe you come home from doing an event and you're not very polite to the people you live with, right? Because it's really upsetting. And so what we do is we go through, and through a simple mindfulness practice, we get out of our head into our hearts. We examine the reasons why. And so you personally reflect on those actions you're taking that don't bring you joy, and you reflect why that is. And then step 4 is to reimagine those actions, right? Either you can do them differently, maybe you would do it with different people. Perhaps you'd be better served if you just let others continue that work while you step into other areas of activism that feel more empowering and uplifting for your heart. So the emotional resilience core components of our workshops are autonomy, environmental mastery, personal growth, and purpose in life. And on our pre and post research assessments, it shows that all 4 of these are positively impacted by our program. And past participants report that their level of environmental stress reduced significantly after attending one of our workshops. All the participants said they felt more empowered by the tools they learned in this program too. So if you're looking to build resilience and foster optimism in the face of climate change, I invite you to join us for an introduction to our 4 steps. Our regular workshops are 2 hours. This will be a 45-minute introduction. It's next Sunday, not tomorrow, but Sunday the 23rd from 10 to 10:45. And I'll put the registration in the chat. It is on the main Earth Day page also. Because the resilient activist believes strongly that the world needs inspired and visionary activists who have the resilience to see us through these unprecedented times. We offer a wide variety of supportive programming, community-guided community building opportunities like our monthly climate cafes that meet on Zoom on the 4th Tuesday night of each month. We have a full range of Speakers Bureau presentations that support activists in their emotional well-being. So I hope you'll join us. I hope you'll join in on some of the amazing events and learn about all the organizations that are part of this group. And I just thank the Climate Council for taking the reins and keeping this event going. So thank you.
Thank you, Sammy. David, you've got 2 events on Sunday, the 23rd. Tell us about those.
Thank you. Yes. The first workshop is at 3:30 on April the 23rd, Central Time. And if you have friends that are interested, they would be able to come in and see that. It will be online. And it's called Carbon Footprint Eating. And as I learned how important plant-based diet was as a climate solution, actually in drawdown.org's top 10, I started to eat vegetarian, and as a traveling musician, learned a lot about how to do that when you're not in your own kitchen as well. And the main thing that people talk to me about that were on the standard meat-based diet, was they couldn't imagine going vegetarian, because when you see plant-based diet advertised, you see fruits, vegetables, and salad. And they were convinced they'd never get enough protein. So got a team together and put together a website that helps people transition just as far as they're comfortable toward a more plant-based diet. And there are 4 pathways, because actually, even if people eat consistently less meat, the solution would still be in the top 10. So people can just eat less meat on a planetarian diet. They can go to a flexitarian diet, which I am on, which is vegetarian most of the time, but very occasionally eating meat or cheese. People can do the vegetarian diet or vegan pathway. And what we put out was a meatless month for Mother Earth challenge. And we've had 60 people go through that 1 month challenge. And a lot of people said, you know, I've been thinking about doing this, but just needed that extra nudge. And some people did it with friends and got together and supported each other. We've had people literally all over the world participate. And that's available at carbonfootprinteating.org anywhere. And what makes this site unique is its emphasis on helping people understand how to get good quality, complete plant protein with all the required essential amino acids every day. And really understanding that it's a very social thing. And you're asking someone to change how they eat. And they're eating with family, eating with friends that may be on the standard meat diet. And there are a lot of resources there as well, places where you can find restaurants that have vegetarian options, recipes. There are even support groups out there. So that's going to be at 3:30 again on April 23rd. At 4:30, I'm doing my Climate Justice in Song and Art workshop. And I've been working with Pachamama Alliance out of San Francisco to help them get curriculum for helping people understand climate justice and where climate solutions and environmental justice and social justice interact. And so I'll start really helping people understand that you can't trash the planet without trashing people. And then I'm going to do some music from my new CD, Count Me In, and show some of the artwork. I decided during the pandemic, with extra time on my hands, to do a painting for each of the songs that has the message of the song. Bob, can I share my screen?
No, you can't.
Okay.
Sorry, it's just a tech thing.
That's okay. And so that presentation will give you a taste of the artwork as well. And I found myself writing about a pretty dire topic. And there are some sad songs there, but there are also some funny songs. So I think this will be an enjoyable and inspiring and educational workshop for people that want to get involved in the climate movement. But as Naomi Klein tells us, to really be successful, it's going to have to be a social justice movement as well. So that's at 4:30 on Sunday, April 23rd.
And couldn't agree with you more on that. Social justice, climate equity, very important. Keith, tell us about your event.
All right, thanks, Bob, and thanks everyone who is on the panel here and joining. A lot of terrific sustainability advocates, and I really appreciate all that you have done so far and all you continue to do. Our event is also on Sunday, April 23rd at 5:30 p.m., 5:30 to 6:30. It's called Living Local and Natural for the Sustainability of Both the Planet and Our Body. We've heard that a few times. I know Sammy mentioned that, and Ellie mentioned that, of how closely tied together our bodies, our souls are to the planet's sustainability. All too often we feel detached from the world in so many ways, operating in our body, in our own egos, and in our own mindsets, that while there's many people who have very strong sustainability passions, they often don't see that reflected inward. So we're going to be speaking to how self-sufficiency in our bodies is at the core of the planet's sustainability goals, and what you can do about that, especially in the day today that rising inflation, supply chain issues, frequent global shock events, we've had just 3 in the last 20 years, are really rattling people's lives, and they seek a pathway to more resiliency and stability. And we know that resiliency only happens when we're dependent on just local and consistent and sustainable resources, not global resources that we have seen have a tendency to break down too often. So combined with how we often hear people, yeah, I want to support local, yeah, I want to do what's best for my local community. I love small businesses here, but it's so hard for people then to go out and align their choices and their actions on a day-to-day basis with those intentions and support their local farmers, businesses, friends, family, neighbors. So we're going to be talking about that. I'm going to be really honored to have Gabe Engelbert from Food Forest Kansas City with me to do our presentation. Food Forest Kansas City specializes in taking any living situation, any piece of land, or even if you're in a condo downtown, and find ways for you to turn it into a food forest, for you to grow your own food and harness the growing aspect, regardless of what you have to work with in your space. So my business, the Kansas City Wellness Club, we're a modern day wellness center. We're fully eco-friendly. Anyone who comes there, please, if you see anything that we think we could do better from an environmental standpoint, I would love to hear it. We really pride ourselves on that, as well as priding ourselves on just natural-based products, natural earthy products. We don't do harsh chemicals. We don't do invasive treatments. You know, a lot of times those don't have sustained benefits. They often carry a high risk of adverse reactions and side effects. But we also know those chemicals have a big impact on our planet. And and also the waste that occurs in our food and clothing industries. And I'll just give a quick plug here. I particularly love the sustainable food and sustainable fashion presentations that Bob and the Climate Council has. So we provide transformative experiences and empowering education. 5-star award-winning wellness center down in the historic Kansas City Club building. We got health. We opened just a couple months before COVID. We've established kind of the health aspect of the core life necessity. Our bigger vision has always been to tackle food and clothing as well as our homes. We're moving on to the food core life necessity next. We have some great, exciting announcements to talk about what we're planning to do there, where you don't have to worry about what you're going to eat tonight or next week. Your food's going to be fresh from local sources, going to make you feel more healthier and vibrant. You're going to feel good knowing you're supporting your local farmers and local food system businesses, and you'll be more resilient to whatever future global shock events come. So we all know we're active participants in this world that emerges around us. None of us are passive witnesses. So we're happy to be a part of that change that we all want to see in this world. So you can find us at kcwellnessclub.com. The Zoom link is both on the Climate Council's website as well as on our own calendar. That's Sunday, April 23rd at 5:30, living local and natural for the sustainability of both the planet and our body. Thank you.
Thank you, Heath. I'd like to invite Katie White to join us. A lot of the panelists here, you know Katie because you've been talking to her partner liaison, and I don't know if you've ever seen her, but here she is. And she's also going to talk about the collaboration team for sustainable Kansas City.
Thank you very much, Bob. And I really appreciate being here today and being able to talk to everybody. Good to see some faces I've only seen their names, and everybody else who's here. Just these amazing things that are going on in Kansas City. It's not just this week, this goes on all year. And I just want to remind everybody that once you connect with one of these groups or several of them, that you can continue that connection through the year because they have events continually through the year, and invite other people to join in as well. I am the partner liaison for Climate Council GKC. And so my job is to reach out and connect the people here with the Climate Council as well as with each other. And one of the things that got me started was the Carbon Almanac. And that's, if you go to the carbonalmanac.org, you will see a whole bunch of resources. Now we're going to be giving away any of these at the temple tomorrow. We're going to be giving away these books to anybody that's interested. So we're going to encourage you, if you have any interest at all. You've heard a lot of things said today on from all of our partners. And if you're curious about, well, what exactly is a food forest? Well, guess what? It's in here. So this is an almanac. It's not really hard to read. There's illustrations. There's some simple explanations. If you want to take a deeper dive, go ahead and contact, but this is just an easy way to see it. We also have a children's version of that if anybody's interested in that. So that's how I got connected to the Climate Council GKC, because the Carbon Almanac put out a call for people to start working with the people in their cities. What can you do in your city to help, get this idea of everybody taking one step to make it a more sustainable planet? So that got me together with somebody I'd never met before, Anna, and she and I got together and started this collaboration team for a sustainable Kansas City. Now, this is just an open forum. We have people that are on our team. You can choose to be on the team. And if you want to leave the team, you can leave the team. But basically, every 2 weeks, we get together, and just like this, we have a Zoom. It's only 1/2 hour long. We have it twice a day because people are busy in the morning sometimes, and then sometimes they're busy in the evening. A lot of our people are these urban farmers and the gardeners, and the people that you're seeing, they work during the day and they cannot come on. So they come on in the evening. And it's similar to this chat we just had. They let us know what are their needs, what's happening, what events, are going on. How can you volunteer? How can you help them out? So this happens every 2 weeks. If you're interested in that, I'm going to drop in the chat how you can get connected with us. Our next meeting is on the 19th. We have one at 10 a.m. and one at 8 p.m. So our goal with the collaboration team for sustainable Kansas City is to, again, connect people that are already doing these amazing things, just like the ones you've heard about today, and to connect these people to the public as well. So that's what our goal is. And that is why I became the partner liaison for Climate Council GKC, because their goals aligned very closely to exactly what our collaboration team is trying to do. One of the things I wanted to really talk about today, though, is something that our city itself is doing, which is the Great Kansas City Area Neighborhood Cleanups. And this is starts today. There's several different things that are happening right now in the Northeast, especially. Also, we have one in Lee's Summit. And these are neighborhood cleanups that are organized by the city of Kansas City, or they're sanctioned by the city, and they are supported by the city, who provides dumpsters and other things. There are several locations today in the Northeast for picking up brush, tire collection with or without the rim on it, and electronics collection. And then you already heard later on in the week, next Saturday, and on Dumpster Day, they're going to be having that same supported type of environment for collecting things there. There's other places too where they are collecting bulky trash and tires besides the on Dumpster Day location. And if you're interested in that, you can go to the Climate Council GKC.org and look at the news and events there. And there's a whole article about it with a link to a whole list of every place that's having a cleanup that we know about in Kansas City. So I encourage you not only to participate on Earth Day and this week, but to participate every day. And thanks again to everyone who's here on this call. And thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Katie. I appreciate all your work. I'm seeing a lot of chats come along between panelists. Please be free to share those with everybody. Let our attendees see those too. So if you're sending those and you're sending those to host and panelists, our attendees are not seeing those. Please resend them. I want to jump over to Ken Reed. Ken, tell us about Heartland Renewable Energy.
Yes. All right. Well, I guess I should start by saying the Heartland, well, I'm the current president of the Heartland Renewable Energy Society. We have a board of directors, and right now we have a mailing list of about, I think it's around 500 people that tend to follow what we're doing. The mission of the Heartland Renewable Energy Society, or HRES, is to promote solar, renewables, clean energy, but also the things that are involved in that, like I won't say peripheral, but the kind of universe of renewables, which would be powering things like electric vehicles, or making your home ready for solar, or the electrification movement, to go through and electrify your home by taking out all the items that use natural gas or propane, or in some cases, not here, but some parts of the world, are say Northeast America, they use heating oil. And so all those, of course, produce a lot of carbon and a lot of pollution, which the whole goal is to try to reduce that, of course. So I want to point out a couple of things. We'll have various board of director people from Heartland Renewable at the conference events, and I don't have them listed because it's kind of we're a volunteer organization, but we plan to be at the Unity Chapel tomorrow. I call it Temple, Unity Temple tomorrow. And then also on Dumpster Day, be some representatives there. So we're going to be available. And I'd like to also say that we have some things that we do that are, I think, of interest to this group. Every year we participate in the annual solar tour of homes. We typically have 2 entries, maybe 3 or 4. I don't know if we've ever had just one, but almost always they're homeowners that want to show off their solar renewable energy systems. And some of them have done the battery backup systems and charge their car, their electric vehicle with solar. So they basically are not using hardly any outside energy from their conventional energy system. And then some of the solar tours are just simply a homeowner that puts in a very small solar system who wants to talk about the rationale why they did what they did, and also why they aren't maybe going full solar. Could be restrictions, not enough roof area, things like that. And not lately, but we've had energy fairs in the past, and I expect we will again very soon, but COVID has knocked us backwards as far as getting together with people, partly because most of the people that are running this thing right now are like me. We're not young anymore, so we're running a little scared of getting sick. But we're going to be getting back into the in-person group workshops and things. And our focus primarily on the for our membership is education toward how to do the various things like I just said about the electrification of your house. And then we also do the things that make a home ready, or talk about things that make a home ready for solar, like adding insulation, weatherization. And the other thing that I like to promote is we have what's called virtual workshops just about every month. We've been doing it pretty much every month. Every once in a while, there's something else that we do instead. But over the course of time, we have what we call virtual workshops, which we invite a presenter on a subject that is proven to be of interest to our membership. And I thought I would read the list, because every one of these that I'm going to talk about real quick, just the title of these virtual workshops are available on our website at heartlandrenewable.org. You can watch them anytime. And so I won't even be able to read them all because we have quite a few, but one of the first ones, we had Stephen Melton, who spoke earlier today on this group. He was nice enough to let us go through his home and showed how he made his home 100% electric by going with heat pumps and also a HRV ventilation system, ERV. I think it was an ERV. And then how he made his house so comfortable that he didn't have to use space heaters anymore for the cold and uncomfortable areas. So that was interesting. And then here's a rundown that's available on our website. We got history and future of residential energy codes. And that's about like the 2021 code that Kansas City, Missouri adopted, and what's going to probably happen with the next series of energy codes. What are we pushing toward, getting towards zero energy? We had Andy Savastino, who's the Chief Environmental Officer for Kansas City, Missouri's city of Kansas City, Missouri. He spoke about the sustainability plan, what the city intends to do for the future of energy or usage reduction and moving toward an electric future. History and usage of ice house roofing systems with regional examples. We had Orlo Stitt talk about this, and ice house roofs, if we could go back to those days where I'll explain it quickly, is you would have a ventilation system basically underneath your roof deck, so that the roof, when it heats up, it draws air underneath it from around now the term escapes me, but your soffit area up through your roofing and out through the top, and it basically keeps your home about 20 degrees cooler. And if you put like an Energy Star roof or certain types of roofs or metal roof on, they might even knock another pretty decent percentage off of your heating, or of your cooling bill by keeping your attic area cooler. We had Kelly Gilbert, who's the director of the Metropolitan Energy Center, talk about the mission and goals of the MEC. We had a speaker on the meaning of sustainability, the true meaning of what it really means. We had Mary English, who spoke a little earlier in this group, talk through and give us demonstrations of what you want to expect in a home energy audit. Growing food inside your home using LED lighting. The coming electric vehicle revolution and how to prepare for it with our grid, and how we're going to have to really step up our game if we're going to be ready. Then we had a talk on long duration energy storage and production of green hydrogen. And of course, what's the difference between green hydrogen and blue hydrogen and that. Building a Chinese greenhouse for year-round food production with zero outside energy needed to keep the plants alive. Going the solar the right way for maximum benefits. Comparison of residential green construction programs, updates on passive solar construction, what's new and happening in home building, energy mortgages and getting renewables back on track after COVID. And that's just a partial listing. It's not even all of them. So if any of those are interested, anybody in this group, all you have to do is go to the website at heartlandrenewable.org and click on virtual workshops, the tab at the top. You can watch any of these you want or all of them. And we're probably in our future going to be pushing the Inflation Reduction Act. Hopefully that'll survive the budget, the ceiling budget. That's going to be a fight in Congress coming up. And then if it does survive, we want to push the rebates and incentives that are going to be available and try to get people to definitely think more about adding solar, clean energy systems and making their homes more efficient. We like to work with other organizations, especially like the Metropolitan Energy Center, because you can't really do it all alone. One quick thing to mention too is we took a bus trip as a group to Rolla, Missouri, and they've been taking the solar decathlon homes that they build and displayed during the decathlon, and then they've made a little solar village out of it that's got a microgrid. It was very cool to see. And
So
then,
Ken, you've got so many things going on. I mean, it's just like you could go on forever here.
did I use my 3 minutes? Did I?
Yes, you did.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll.
So people can see you tomorrow?
Yes, I'll be there tomorrow morning. And I'd just like to say it's nice to be here, and I appreciate this opportunity to talk about our group, and I hope to see some of you in person.
Thanks a lot, Ken.
Thank you.
Kristen, why don't you talk to us about Casey Can Compost?
Okay, good morning. And my apologies if you caught my technical difficulties earlier. I tried to log in. I've been at the convention center for the National Volleyball Tournament today. So it's downtown. So my name's Kristen Chamberlain. I'm the executive director of Casey Can Compost. And Casey Can has a dual kind of vision and mission. The first part of our vision and mission in the community really was to create really a unified sort of system for helping organizations and residents divert their organic waste, food waste in particular, from the landfill. So you've probably seen, or hopefully have seen, our bright orange cans around town. And essentially what we did is we spent about 2 years trying to research and address what the barriers were, and I'll say were because hopefully we've solved a lot of them, to composting at large scale. So big organizations like a Costco, for instance, what was preventing them from taking part in this process. So essentially what Casey Can does is we try and address each of those barriers. We go in, we conduct a waste audit for businesses. So we look at space. So anything from a Costco size all the way down to a food truck, and we fit and adjust what their needs are and create a system for them to make it easy for them to divert food waste. And then we work with Missouri Organic. I see Stan on here to dump all of that for compost processing. Second half of our mission is an environmental kind of justice fork. We've got a two-pronged fork, and the idea was that we can create living wage sustainable jobs for people in the green industry who are traditionally excluded from much of our workforce for things like educational deficits or criminal records. It doesn't allow them to obtain living wage employment in other industries. So we have a Green Core training program that works with various populations with barriers to employment. And obviously, as we grow our composting infrastructure, we can hire more and more of our graduates, but we also work with community partners. Actually, one of our graduates does work for Missouri Organic now, or we try and place them in other green jobs around the city. So that's sort of, in a nutshell, our vision. And this week, we are participating with the Compost Fest with the other compost groups in town. We're going to be at the Kansas City Zoo with their efforts there and couple online issues or kind of events going on. But that's what we're about.
Well, thank you, Kristen.
Thanks.
James, tell us about Renew Missouri.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone. My name is James Owen. I'm the Executive Director of Renew Missouri. We are a 501c advocacy group based out of Columbia, Missouri. However, we do have a full-time staff person in Kansas City. We have a full-time, her name is Elisa Greenwald. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to interact with her. Really excited to be here. Our main work is advocacy matters before the Public Service Commission. That means we appear on cases before the Public Service Commission involving Evergy and Spire, among others. Those might be the utilities you're most familiar with. In fact, we just got done advocating for Evergy's purchase of a 200 megawatt wind farm in Oklahoma. So they were wanting to purchase that, and they were getting some static from state regulators. So we also advocated for Evergy to develop a low-income community solar pilot program in Kansas City, which they are now doing, as well as a residential battery storage pilot. So if you have an EV or a solar array on your rooftop, Evergy would like to install a residential battery unit in your house so they can test to see how effective that is for storing power that they can call up. We don't have anything specific going on in Kansas City for this. I do know on Friday, April 21st, if you're interested, Renew Missouri is participating in a workshop at the Public Service Commission on IRA funding and how that will affect investor-owned utilities like Evergy and Spire in Missouri. And there is a web access to that. So I would encourage you to join that and listen to some of that conversation if you want. We're also going to be speaking at a clean car event at on May 3rd, which is kind of it's a tour of clean cars coming across the country. And there will be a lot of people speaking to that, including Mayor Lucas. So that's some of the stuff we have going on. If you're interested in learning more about us, you can go to renewmo.org or look up RenewMo on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, or Instagram.